Hey guys, in this video, I want to give you some simple and natural things you can do to optimize your progesterone levels. Progesterone gets its name due to its fertility enhancing effects in the body. If you look at the word progesterone, pro means for and gesterone is referring to gestation or pregnancy. So the hormone literally means for pregnancy or for fertility. Now here's the thing. Fertility is not just something for women who are interested in getting pregnant or anybody looking to bear a child. The fact of the matter is, fertility is perhaps one of the most profound indicators or biomarkers of good overall health. Because in order for you to be fertile, essentially you have to be healthy. And a lot of those fertility hormones, they're not just fertility or sex hormones. They play major roles in protecting the body from stress, so they have strong protective roles. They're androgenic, so they give you that sex drive, but they also give you overall energy. They play key roles in ensuring that the metabolism is actually shifting or leaning towards proper oxidative metabolism. So they shift the metabolism towards energy metabolism, which is why these sorts of androgenic hormones give you energy. In fact, in early research, it was found that progesterone is the basic hormone for adaptation and for fighting stress. So it's the basic anti-stress hormone. Now, when you have a progesterone deficiency, or if you're under chronic, long-lasting, persistent stress, instead of your adrenal glands producing its primary anti-stress hormone, progesterone, it will start to produce cortisol, which, as you probably know if you keep up with these videos, has many adverse ill side effects that come along with it. So although it can help you get through stress, keep in mind that cortisol is more or less a secondary stress hormone. Ideally, you have a sufficient amount of progesterone in your body. You are exposed to minimal amounts of stress, so that way your body produces the more protective anti-stress hormone, progesterone, that ensures that your body has enough energy to drive through stress, whereas cortisol shifts your metabolism to the stress-driven metabolism, which basically just helps you survive stress. It doesn't actually help you cope with it efficiently, at least biologically. So if you have a deficiency of progesterone, what's going to happen is you're going to have an excess of cortisol. So one of the major contributing factors to excessive cortisol production is this deficiency in progesterone. And an excess of cortisol contributes to a wide variety, if not all, pathological diseases. But just to name a few, excess cortisol production directly contributes to the development of osteoporosis, bone loss or calcium loss, or the influx or the inverse disrupted calcium metabolism in the body. So that, again, bone loss, osteoporosis, and even teeth problems. It greatly contributes to a wide variety of vascular issues because cortisol has a catabolic effect on the tissue, so it can decrease the tone in the veins, leading to spider veins and varicose veins. Cortisol in excess will directly age your skin. It breaks down the skin tissue to make glucose or energy when you are stressed out. And it generally attributes to most of all of the symptoms and diseases associated with aging. So keeping your progesterone levels high is essential not for just minimizing the overproduction of cortisol, but for avoiding or preventing all of these diseases I just mentioned, amongst many others. Now, on the contrary, a sufficient amount of progesterone is highly protective and therapeutic for the body. It can be used to treat things like emphysema because of its general cellular promoting effect, so it promotes cellular respiration. It has a beneficial effect on both the cardiovascular system, so it improves the efficiency of the heart, and it improves vascular condition, so improves the integrity and the tone of the vein, so it can help prevent and treat things like varicose veins and spider veins. To the contrary of causing osteoporosis when deficient, it can actually help to correct this or prevent bone loss and teeth loss by ensuring that parathyroid and prolactin are in check, which are otherwise calcium robbing or calcium disrupting hormones in the body. It obviously improves fertility and your chances of getting pregnant or impregnating somebody, so it's a pro-pregnancy hormone or pro-fertility hormone. It has a beneficial effect on treating a wide variety of immunodeficiencies because it generally opposes cortisol and estrogen, and both of those hormones, when in excess, are associated strongly with immunodeficiencies, so it improves the functioning of the immune system. And last but not least, it generally helps to treat or mitigate a lot of the aging effects of stress. So it's going to help improve the integrity and the tone of your skin tissue. It can have a beneficial effect on the nails, the teeth, the hair, and a lot of the signs of physical aging. Now, although we briefly touched on some of the major symptoms of low progesterone, some others include the increased risk of cancer. There's a strong correlation between low progesterone and general low androgen production and the increased risk of cancer, as well as treating cancer with progesterone has shown to be effective. And this is, again, likely due to the fact that progesterone generally promotes respiration and ensures that your metabolism is working efficiently and not producing an excess of lactic acid. If it weren't obvious by now, low progesterone is going to obviously increase the production of cortisol, but cortisol also increases the production of estrogen. So low progesterone is going to attribute to this hormonal imbalance. Additionally, because low progesterone is going to result in the increase of cortisol and estrogen, this can also result in hypothyroidism because both cortisol and estrogen oppose thyroid function. And as I said already, low progesterone will attribute to skin aging, general accelerated aging. It's going to contribute to bone and teeth problems, as well as depression and anxiety. So by now, it probably goes without saying that keeping your progesterone levels at an optimal range is essential for good health and preventing aging. Fortunately, for those of you interested in optimizing progesterone levels, if you suspect that you have low progesterone because you have a lot of the symptoms I'm talking about, or if you know from blood work, there are a number of very simple and natural things that you can do actually to increase the natural production of progesterone. One of the first things that you're going to want to do is avoid the consumption of phytoestrogenic foods, as well as the contact as much as you can of any xenoestrogen, so estrogen mimicking chemicals. Now, looking to the phytoestrogenic foods and herbs, some of the major estrogenic foods and herbs include, starting off first with the foods, grains and legumes, including corn and soy. Raw, uncooked cruciferous vegetables, especially in abundance. You're going to want to avoid also most commercial dairy and meat products. And this is because these animals, they are fed polyunsaturated fats, which are estrogenic. And typically the grains that they're fed are sprayed with pesticides and herbicides that are known to be estrogenic and suppress thyroid function, which would also lower progesterone. A major source of dietary estrogen is also going to be alcohol, especially beer, because of the hops and the estradiol from the yeast in both beer, wine, spirits, etc. In regards to herbs, major estrogenic herbs are licorice root, black cohosh, lavender, and tea tree. You're going to want to avoid these as much as possible. Now, looking at some of the xenoestrogens, these are the chemical mimicking estrogens. These are mostly going to be found in the obvious toxic substances. So most known carcinogens are going to be estrogenic, but just to name a few, you're going to want to look out for the parabens, the phthalates, and the stearates. These are all known to be endocrine disrupting, estrogenic mimicking chemicals. So definitely look those all up and find the major sources of those, but typically you're going to find them in like conventional personal care products, the conventional commercial shampoos, soaps, conditioners, face washes, creams, lotions, etc., as well as most plastic substances. The second major thing you're going to want to do is de-stress. So stress, or specifically the cortisol and adrenaline that's secreted under stress, as we learned, greatly opposes the production of progesterone. So when you're in a chronically stressed state and your metabolism shifts to the adrenal stress-driven metabolism, progesterone levels are going to down-regulate. You're not going to produce enough in the adrenal glands because you're producing cortisol. This is referred to as the pregnenolone steal. So you're going to want to get a handle on stress from every aspect. I cannot emphasize enough the importance of getting a handle on mental and emotional stress because it occurs so frequently all the time. You can be in a mental and emotional state of stress for hours on end, constantly secreting cortisol. So that's a major source of stress, next to dietary stress, next to environmental stresses, etc. So definitely get a handle on your stress, watch and utilize the videos we've made on stress. However, this is where the great importance and help of adaptogenic herbs come into play. Adaptogenic herbs like ginkgo biloba, ashwagandha, and cordyceps are all clinically proven to significantly lower the production of stress chemicals like cortisol. So utilizing those can be very helpful in a stressful modern world while you get a handle on the mental and emotional stress. The third thing you're going to want to do is take a look at your dietary fat. So you're going to want to put an emphasis on eating saturated fats over polyunsaturated fats. Polyunsaturated fats in of themselves are estrogenic, so you're going to want to avoid those. To learn what those are, be sure to check out my blog post on polyunsaturated fats. Looking towards the saturated fats, in short, these are your animal fats, but make sure you get them pasture-raised and grass-fed, not fed GMO polyunsaturated fats that are in things like the various grains that they're often fed in commercial feedlots. So get the organic pastured stuff. Now the important reason for this is that the saturated fat and the cholesterol in these saturated fats provide the basic building blocks for the production of your androgen hormones. Cholesterol is the key building block next to vitamin A, which synthesizes cholesterol into progesterone. So consuming something like grass-fed beef liver, which contains both saturated fat, cholesterol, as well as vitamin A, which you need for that enzymatic conversion, is a great way to increase the production of luteinizing hormones, which are basically the hormones that help you produce these androgenic sex hormones like progesterone. The next thing I'd recommend is getting in enough dietary zinc. This is a mineral that a lot of people are deficient in because the major sources of it are foods that most people don't like. Things like grass-fed beef liver and oysters. You will find it in grass-fed beef as well, so that's a good source of dietary zinc that's not as off-putting. Other major sources of dietary zinc actually include Polyrhacus black ant, probably the #1 source on the planet. Hoshiwu also has some zinc in it as well, but definitely try to get in supplemental oysters, grass-fed beef liver, Polyrhacus ant, and Hoshiwu. Now the importance here is that zinc prompts your pituitary gland to secrete follicle stimulating hormone, which is essential for the production of progesterone. So that brings this video to a close. This is everything that you probably really need to know about progesterone, the great importance of it in your body for adaptation, for managing stress in a healthy way, and for maintaining your energy, health, and youth. Obviously, as we've learned, a progesterone deficiency is at the root of most every disease, so getting the handle on it is going to be key for improving your health. But fortunately, now you have a handful of simple things that you can do that will be very helpful for naturally increasing your levels of progesterone. However, that does bring this video to a close, so if you guys enjoyed it, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel for future videos, and for supplementing with any of those anti-cortisol herbs that we talked about. Remember, getting a handle on cortisol is a must for increasing the protective progesterone in your body. So if you want to supplement with those or you're interested in learning more, you can find those on our online tonic herb shop in the description box below.